Welcome to this flight where we will follow the railway line to Bombala from Queanbeyan in a helicopter. Try and give you some sort of feel as to how the proposed rail trail will look and feel. So now we're just leaving Queanbeyan. People could start anywhere in Queanbeyan, maybe Queanbeyan railway station or anywhere along the ACT New South Wales border, which basically follows the railway line, and directly below us is the railway line that hopefully one day will form part of the Canberra or Queanbeyan to Bombala rail trail. So the first part of the trip is through some nicely wooded country leading out from Queanbeyan towards Hume, the industrial area that you can see up in front, and nicely away from traffic. And then the railway line goes under the main entry to Queanbeyan from South Canberra, continues on past the industrial area of Hume. Would probably end up being a few issues with crossing roads and stuff in this part of the trip. Will inconvenience the cyclist too much, and it's only about a kilometre or two of close urban contact. Not sure what that area on the left is. I'm guessing it's more industrial area to do with Hume. I don't think it's the Tralee residential development, but it might be, but it looks more industrial size streets to me. So yes, so the rail trail will no doubt have a fairly solid industrial presence at this point, but before we know it, we've headed out of the Hume industrial area and we're on our way to climb a little bit, look out over Tuggeranong Valley and the Bombala ranges beyond. It's been fairly heavily worked. This land here is pine forests and it's basically pretty awful soil, so apart from travelling above the surrounding countryside like Canberra at this point, there's probably not a heck of a lot to see. Just a constant climb to come out of Canberra. But there should be some good views over the Tuggeranong Valley towards the Brindabelas in the distance. And at this point, although the road continues down there to the right, the railway line does quite a large switchback here, so it doesn't have to climb or fall too far. And as you can see down there, it's through some nice cuttings and back into some open agricultural land. Somewhere around here is an old siding which has some archaeological and historical importance, but I believe that there's not much in the way of infrastructure left there. So the line takes a beautiful curve around through some open country and heads back towards the Monaro Highway, well away from any sort of traffic noise and other urban disruption at this point. As you can see, Tuggeranong Valley spread out to the right there. How much you'd see from the railway line level, I don't know. And the line continues through some fairly good sized cuttings. No tunnels in this area, I believe, but definitely a reasonable distance away from roads and traffic. And then we curve around and start to run parallel more or less to the Canberra highway. It runs straight, we curve left and right. Much more varied and scenic route, I believe. And as we leave Canberra's Tuggeranong Valley and climb up into, must be getting close to the end of the ACT border. I know, I think it runs for a bit longer, but anyway, on the left there is New South Wales, and on the right is still the ACT. Now the rail line, or the future rail trail, enters some open, fairly treeless country, so you get some great views along here. For a while it travels fairly close to the highway, but buffered again by some earthworks and whatever, but not for too long, and then once again you leave the immediate edge of the highway and you get into a little bit more what we call bush. And that road there is one that cuts back to Queanbeyan through the middle. There'll be a crossing there. Not much traffic on that road, it's just a rural area. And the railway lines are still running nice and level through some, what's actually quite level ground as well. A little bit of build up of buildings here, but nothing that does anything more than adds a bit of variety to the landscape. And I think this underpass here is the road to Royalla, which is another semi-rural estate there to the left. And for a while now we join quite close to the highway, and not sure what the name of this small valley is. Quite probably Williamsdale, because Williamsdale is the next sort of settlement to come up. But yeah, the rail trail will just be pancake smooth and straight as a die at this section of the trip. I have got a plan marked on the map down there in the right hand corner. The railway easement is so obvious that I don't really need to keep my eye on the plan. It's mainly there just to be there if I happen to get lose the trail somehow, which doesn't look like that's going to happen. So once again the trail mirrors the highway and continues on straight through fairly level and flat country. Probably about halfway to Michelago, our first stop at this point, and this is Williamsdale, where there used to be a petrol station, but of course economic circumstances closed that, and that road coming up there is a back road to Borough. You could join this rail trail by coming in on the Borough Road from the back of Queanbeyan, but it wouldn't be as scenic or as pleasant as following the trail the whole way. Over there on the right is one of Canberra's solar farms, generally hidden from the highway, and you certainly wouldn't see it from the rail trail. And now we're starting to get into a bit more undulating country for a while. Climb a little bit higher, and the rail trail will be sometimes in embankments and sometimes on top of embankments, and there's a trestle bridge just at this point here. Whether that gets kept or not is another matter. I doubt whether the weight of cyclists would cause any structural problems, so hopefully they'd be able to keep it. And we just carry on through some nice agricultural land. Occasionally there's a crossing of a feeder road, dirt road of some sort. At this point the railway line is fairly overgrown in parts, so when the rail trail is developed there'll have to be some cutting of the vegetation and whatnot taking place. So we are climbing just slowly as we climb up out of the ACT towards Michelago, and the ranges on the left there, with the sawtooth top, is called Tuggeranong ranges. That's the blue ones in the background, not these immediate hills just here. Opening out into more open farmland here. None of the 5, 10 and 20 acre blocks like you get further back close to Canberra. This is all pretty well full rural country here. A very nice feel in the rail trail as you climb up towards the crest before we descend the other side towards Michelago. Once again, the railway line, the rail trail is dead straight. So the ground's not that hilly or mountainous enough to make it snake around at this point, but coming up it does do a fairly large bend if I remember correctly. And as we crest the top of the hill there, the view opens out into the Michelago Valley. Still about 5 kilometres to go to Michelago at this point, and the highway goes pretty well direct. I'm pretty sure the rail trail heads off to the left to get a slower drop down. And there it goes, yes. Just coming around to the left in a nice sweep, and then following around the base of that hill to the right. Beautiful scenic curve looking out over the valley. Beautiful sweeping curve to the left, and you can start to see Michelago in the middle distance there. Town of not many people. I'm not sure what the population is, but 200 or 300 would be my guess. I think there are some small trestle bridges on this stretch of the trail. Anyway, we'll go and have a look at Michelago, because the rail trail will run just to the east of it, to the left, and I anticipate that most cyclists doing this trip will find that certainly by the time they get here it's lunchtime, or maybe time to stop. So if the rail trail does become established, there should be some good accommodation and eating options open up in Michelago. So, over there in the west are the Bombala Ranges and the Monero Highway down there, and go and land somewhere in Michelago. And have a cup of coffee. Nice small little town. It's got a great general store. place to settle down. Haven't flown this chopper much, so very careful approach this one. Make sure I don't overshoot. Spinning around. Come on, settle down. Oh, that will have to do us.